Welcome back, everyone. Excited to dive into something pretty unique today.
Oh, yeah.
Marcus Aurelius and his meditations.
Ah, classic.
We're going really deep, though. Got excerpts from the book itself
Nice. Primary
and
source.
some scholarly commentary, too, so like multifaceted view.
Love that. Helps us unpack the context.
Exactly. What's so cool about meditations, though, it's both personal journal and philosophical treatise.
Yeah, you get the man and the ideas.
So we'll be uncovering what's fascinated scholars, but also what Marcus was, like, personally grappling with.
Almost like accidentally profound, right?
Totally. Like overhearing someone's brilliant thoughts, who also happened to be an emperor.
Powerful position, yet meditations wasn't meant for an audience, really.
Adds to the intrigue, right?
Definitely. Essentially, it was Marcus's private journal, his way of working through, well, everything while trying to live by these Stoic principles.
That's right. And speaking of intrigue, our sources describe Marcus Aurelius as forgotten by the historian.
It's for
Yeah, which honestly makes me even more curious about him.
Why would this emperor, who was also a philosopher, be seemingly overlooked?
Right. Like, what's the story there?
Well, it's not like he was a nobody. Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor during the 2nd century AD.
Okay, setting the scene.
This was the Pax Romana period.
Ah, famous for peace and prosperity, right?
Exactly. He was known for wisdom, justice, but what makes him stand out is that he was a devoted Stoic philosopher.
Okay, so more than just an emperor.
Way more. And this wasn't just a hobby. Stoicism shaped his leadership, decisions, entire worldview.
Okay, so Stoicism. For those of us who need a refresher.
Sure. In a nutshell, Stoicism emphasizes virtue, reason, and living in harmony with nature.
Sounds pretty zen.
It's about focusing on what's in our control, our thoughts, actions, and accepting what we can't control, like external events.
So inner peace through acceptance.
You could say that, and that's what makes meditation so fascinating.
How so?
Well, we see this powerful emperor grappling with very human challenges, self-doubt, anxieties, constantly pursuing virtue.
You're saying even an emperor wasn't immune to this stuff.
Exactly, and he's trying to apply Stoic principles to, like, daily life.
Makes it relatable?
Definitely, and going back to meditations itself,
Described as a collection of jottings, right?
almost accidental profundity.
Yeah, like overhearing someone's incredibly brilliant inner monologue.
But then I read that Marcus himself said he wouldn't even bother rereading them.
Wait, seriously, why write something you don't intend to revisit?
And that's one of the things that makes meditation so compelling.
I'm hooked, tell me more.
It wasn't meant to be this polished work for public consumption.
Right.
It was raw, unfiltered, Marcus processing his experiences, reminding himself of Stoic principles.
So we're getting this, like, incredibly intimate glimpse into his inner world.
Exactly, a world that most people never saw.
Wow, it's like stumbling upon the private reflections of one of the most powerful men in history.
And it's filled with these profound insights into human nature, the universe, and the pursuit of a good life.
Okay, I am so ready to get philosophical. What were some of the big ideas that obsessed Marcus? Give me the highlights.
One that jumps out is this metaphor of the city.
A city.
Yeah, he saw each individual as intrinsically linked to the universe,
Okay.
like citizens of a vast cosmic city governed by the divine.
I kind of like that imagery.
It reflects that Stoic belief in interconnectedness, each individual's role within the larger whole.
It's like even an emperor felt connected to something bigger.
Exactly, it's a powerful concept.
Definitely. This idea that we're all interconnected, like citizens of a cosmic city, I could see how that would be a comforting thought.
Right, especially during tough times.
For sure. But even with that sense of interconnectedness, meditations isn't all sunshine and roses, is it?
No, not at all.
Our sources hint at a more human, struggling side to Marcus as well.
Oh, absolutely. Meditations reveals that even an emperor grappled with very human challenges.
I mean, makes sense, right? But what kind of challenges are we talking about?
Constantly questioning himself, struggling to control emotions, aware of his own flaws.
Okay, so relatable stuff.
Very much so. In fact, he even lists all these virtues he's striving for.
Virtues, like what?
He wants to be good, simple, individual, bare,
Huh, interesting choices.
even free of need, missing nothing, desiring nothing.
But he's already emperor. Shouldn't he have everything?
Exactly. That's what makes it so intriguing.
Like, what's he really searching for?
That's the question that keeps readers coming back to meditations.
Like, there's this depth to him we wouldn't expect.
And it all ties back to that Stoic idea of the sage,
The sage.
this ideal philosopher, perfect wisdom and virtue. But Marcus repeatedly denies being one.
So even an emperor, steeped in philosophy, didn't think he'd reach that level.
It shows his humility, but also this constant striving for improvement.
Man, that's kind of reassuring, actually.
How so?
It's like maybe it's okay that the rest of us haven't reached peak enlightenment either.
Right, we're all on this journey.
And speaking of journeys, our source pulled out this quote where Marcus seems almost relieved about the prospect of death.
Death. That's a bit dark, isn't it?
Right. Especially for a philosophy focused on virtue and living well.
Well, remember, Stoics believed in accepting what's outside our control.
And death is the ultimate out-of-control thing.
Exactly. Not something to fear, but to accept. And for Marcus, ruling during plagues, wars, constant turmoil,
It's understandable he might see death as a release, huh?
a release from responsibility, from suffering.
Heavy stuff. So we've got this emperor pouring his heart out in his journal.
But he wasn't coming up with these ideas in a vacuum, right?
Good point. Our sources mention some of his philosophical heroes, like Epictetus.
Ah, yes, Epictetus.
Can you remind us who he was again?
A former slave who became a renowned Stoic philosopher.
Wait, a former slave.
Quite a journey.
That's incredible. What drew Marcus Aurelius, an emperor, to the teachings of a former slave?
What's fascinating is that both Epictetus and Marcus, despite their backgrounds, were drawn to Stoicism's emphasis on practical philosophy.
Less theory, more how to live.
Precisely. Not about abstract ideas, but how to live a good life, navigate challenges, find meaning amidst chaos.
Sounds like ancient self-help.
With a philosophical twist.
I like it. And it wasn't just Epictetus either, right?
Nope.
Marcus was name-dropping all over this thing. He also quoted Heraclitus.
Ah, yes, the liver of creation guy.
Exactly. Pre-Socratic philosopher known for ideas about constant flux of reality, right?
Spot on. Everything is in constant change. The only constant is change itself.
Whoa, deep.
And it ties right back to that Stoic theme of accepting change.
It's like that saying you can't step in the same river twice.
Precisely. Everything is flowing, changing, including ourselves.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Before we move on, I'd love to hear what stood out to you most from all this.
What struck me is that despite his position, power, Marcus's writings are so human.
Yeah, you really get a sense of the man behind the emperor.
He had doubts, fears, anxieties, just like us.
Makes him more relatable, I think.
Definitely. And it's through his struggles that we can connect with him, find inspiration in his pursuit of wisdom.
Totally agree. What I find compelling is that he was actively seeking ways to manage his emotions,
Oh, yeah.
to find peace amidst chaos, live a more meaningful life. It's like he was the original mindfulness guru.
Haha, I love that. And Meditations provides us with this framework for navigating those same challenges centuries later.
It's timeless, isn't it?
Absolutely. A reminder that we all have the capacity for growth and transformation, no matter our circumstances.
Well said. And for our listeners who are eager to learn more about how to apply these Stoic principles to their own lives,
Stay tuned.
we'll be back soon with part 2, where we'll dive deeper into the practical applications of Marcus Aurelius's wisdom.
Can't wait.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Meditations. Last time we were talking about Marcus Aurelius, an emperor, being influenced by Epictetus, a former slave turned Stoic philosopher. It's interesting how their paths crossed. I'm curious to learn more about what resonated with Marcus in Epictetus's teachings.
You've hit upon a fascinating point. Both Epictetus and Marcus, despite their vastly different backgrounds, were drawn to the practical side of Stoicism. They weren't just interested in abstract theories. They wanted to know how to apply these principles to everyday life, how to navigate challenges and find meaning amidst chaos.
Makes a lot of sense, right? Considering everything on Marcus's shoulders as emperor, it seems like Stoicism wasn't just intellectual stimulation for him, but a way to navigate real challenges.
Precisely. And one of the key concepts they both emphasized was this idea of virtue as the sole good.
Virtue is the sole good.
Meaning, true happiness and fulfillment come from aligning our actions with reason, living a life of integrity.
Okay, I can see that being a guiding principle for someone like Marcus Aurelius in his position. But how did that actually play out in his life? I mean, wars, political intrigue, all that emperor stuff.
Well, that's what makes Meditations so fascinating. We see him grappling with those challenges, trying to apply those Stoic ideals even amidst the pressures of ruling an empire.
So it's not all just like lofty philosophical musings?
Not at all. It gets real. It wasn't always easy for him, and he certainly wasn't perfect, but he was constantly striving to live by those values.
So Meditations was like his personal guidebook, a way to stay grounded amidst the chaos.
You could say that it was his space for self-reflection, reminding himself of those Stoic principles, and working through his struggles to actually embody them. And one thing that stands out is his focus on self-awareness.
Self-awareness, huh?
He was always examining his own thoughts, motivations, actions, looking for any negative or harmful tendencies.
I can relate to that. We all have those moments, right? Like, why did I do that? Or why am I letting this bother me so much?
Exactly. And Marcus offers us this framework for handling those moments, cultivating that inner observer, that part of ourselves that can step back and assess our thoughts and emotions without getting swept away.
Ancient mindfulness techniques. But I gotta ask, did he ever lose his cool? I mean, he was an emperor. Surely there were times when he just wanted to scream.
Of course, he was human, but what's fascinating is that he recognized those tendencies in himself, and he actively worked to counteract them. There's this great quote in Meditations where he says, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury."
Wow, that's powerful. So instead of getting caught up in anger or resentment, he chose to, like, rise above, maintain his composure.
Exactly, and that's what's so inspiring about his approach. He wasn't claiming to be perfect. He was just constantly working on himself, trying to align his actions with his values.
It's not about achieving some impossible ideal, right? It's about making a conscious effort.
Yes, it's about progress, not perfection.
Love that. And it's a message that resonates across the centuries, doesn't it? So we've talked about virtue being the sole good, self-awareness. What else can we learn from this Stoic playbook?
Well, another crucial takeaway is accepting what we can't control. The Stoics recognized we have very little power over external events, but we do have power over how we react.
Sounds like you're way ahead of his time. That reminds me of the serenity prayer. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Exactly. It perfectly captures the essence of the Stoic approach. Even though the Serenity Prayer wasn't written by Marcus Aurelius, it's all about focusing on what WE can control, letting go of the rest. And as emperor, Marcus faced a lot of things he couldn't control. Wars, rebellions, political turmoil. His writings show he struggled, but he always brought himself back to what he could control: thoughts, actions, responses.
Creating that mental space even amidst chaos.
Right.
And that's something we can all strive for, especially today. It's so easy to get caught up in things we can't control.
You're absolutely right. And that's one of the things that makes Stoicism so relevant today. The world has changed, sure, but human nature, not so much. We still face challenges, uncertainty, information overload. But focusing on what we can control creates inner peace, resilience.
So self-awareness, accepting what we can't control. What else stands out from Meditations?
One more that's so relevant today is his emphasis on interconnectedness. Remember that metaphor of the city?
Oh yeah, the cosmic city.
Individuals as part of a larger whole, citizens of this vast cosmic city.
Right. It all ties back to that inherent worth and dignity of all individuals, doesn't it?
Exactly. We're all part of something bigger. Our actions have ripple effects. This idea can be a powerful antidote to the individualism and isolation we see so much of today.
It makes me wonder, did Marcus apply this to his leadership? I mean, how did this philosophy become action?
Oh, he absolutely did. He saw his role as emperor not as power and privilege, but responsibility and duty.
So not your typical emperor, huh?
Not at all. He believed in using his position to make a positive impact, serving the common good.
Inspiring. It really challenges that traditional image of an emperor concerned only with power and conquest.
Right. He's striving for something much deeper.
Okay, I'm getting chills. It's amazing how these ideas from centuries ago still resonate.
It is, isn't it? It speaks to the enduring power of Stoic philosophy. It's focused on timeless human truths.
So to recap, we have this ancient text that speaks about virtue, self-awareness, acceptance, interconnectedness. It's like a toolkit for modern life.
That's a great way to put it.
And before we move on, I'd love to hear about some specific quotes or ideas from Meditations that resonated with you personally.
Ooh, good question. One that always sticks with me is waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one.
Oh, I love that. It's like walk the walk, don't just talk the talk, so Stoic. It's a great reminder that our actions speak louder than words. What about you? Anything stand out?
For me, it's that idea of controlling our reactions to external events. That, quote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Powerful reminder that even when things feel out of control, we have a choice.
So true. We can't always control what happens, but we can control how we react. That's a powerful source of inner strength.
Exactly, and that's something we all need in today's world.
Well said. It seems like we've uncovered some truly timeless wisdom in Meditations. And for our listeners who are eager to learn more about applying these Stoic principles to their own lives, be sure to join us for the final part of our deep dive. We'll be exploring practical strategies for incorporating these ancient ideas into our modern lives. Welcome back to the deep dive. We're wrapping up our exploration of Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, which is kind of amazing when you think about it.
What is?
That this ancient text, Personal Reflections of a Roman Emperor, can still offer so much wisdom.
It is remarkable. Last time we discussed how Marcus Aurelius' Stoic philosophy emphasized self-awareness, accepting what we can't control, and recognizing our interconnectedness. And you're right, these ideas are just as relevant today.
It's like he's giving us this blueprint for a better life, brick by Stoic brick. But how do we actually put these ideas into practice?
Ah, the age-old question.
Right. It's one thing to admire Marcus Aurelius' wisdom, But how do we make it work in our own lives? With all the chaos and distractions of today's world.
That's the key, isn't it? Bridging that gap between ancient wisdom and modern life. And fortunately, meditations offer some very practical strategies. One that stands out is his emphasis on journaling.
Journaling.
Remember, meditations itself was Marcus's personal journal.
Oh, right. It wasn't meant to be this, grand philosophical treatise.
Exactly. It was his private space for self-improvement, working through his own challenges.
So he was basically the original journaling guru.
You could say that. And it wasn't just random thoughts. He was actively using journaling as a tool.
A tool for what?
Examining his beliefs, identifying negative patterns, working towards living in accordance with his values.
I can see how that'd be beneficial, like having a conversation with yourself, processing your experiences, gaining clarity.
Precisely. And it doesn't have to be this big formal thing. Even a few minutes each day to reflect on your thoughts, feelings, actions can be profound.
So like Stoic morning pages. I can get behind that. What else can we borrow from Marcus's Stoic toolkit?
Another practice he highlighted was negative visualization.
Negative? What, no? Sounds kind of counterintuitive, doesn't it? Are we supposed to focus on the positive?
It might seem that way, but hear me out. The idea is to periodically contemplate the impermanence of things. Imagine losing the things you value, even the people you love.
Okay, I'm not going to lie, that sounds a little intense.
I know, right? But there's a deeper purpose. It's not about dwelling on the negative or being pessimistic. It's about cultivating gratitude and preparing ourselves for life's inevitable challenges.
So like a preemptive emotional workout. Get those Stoic muscles ready for anything.
Haha, exactly. By acknowledging the possibility of loss, we actually appreciate the good things even more.
Makes sense. So journaling, negative visualization, any other Stoic practices we can use today?
One more I find helpful is memento mori.
Memento mori. That's Latin, right?
It means remember that you must die.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty serious. But I'm hoping this isn't about becoming, obsessed with death,
Not at all. It's about recognizing the finitude of life.
which can be scary.
It can, but it can also be a powerful motivator for living a more meaningful, intentional life.
So not wasting time on things that don't truly matter.
Exactly. Memento mori encourages us to prioritize what's important, pursue passions, make a difference, cherish time with loved ones.
Wow, when you put it like that, it's kind of beautiful, actually.
It is. It's not about fearing death, but using that awareness as a catalyst for a more fulfilling life.
I'm starting to see the value in memento mori. It's like a wake-up call.
Right, to make the most of each day.
So we've got journaling, negative visualization, memento mori. It's like this ancient toolbox for a better life.
Love that analogy. And what's amazing is these Stoic practices are just as relevant today. They offer timeless strategies for challenges, inner peace, a life of meaning.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into meditations, let's bring it back to our listeners. If meditations was Marcus's tool for his challenges, what are yours? What helps you stay grounded, resilient, focused?
Ooh, that's a good one. For me, it's a combo. Mindfulness, nature, connecting with people I love, and of course, journaling.
Love those. For me, it's definitely journaling, exercise, and creative expression. And I got to say, that Stoic idea of memento mori, it's really growing on me.
Yeah,
It's a powerful reminder to savor each day.
beautiful said. And it speaks to what Marcus was getting at in Meditations. Living by our values, finding meaning, embracing our shared humanity.
Well said. And to all our listeners out there, we encourage you to explore these Stoic practices, experiment, see what resonates, find your tools for navigating life.
Even an emperor who ruled one of the most powerful empires in history struggled, right? Self-doubt, anxiety, all of it. It's a reminder that we're all in this together.
We're all works in progress with the capacity for growth and transformation. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep. And as always, thanks for joining us.
Until next time, PRCC.